But more and more we see children become adults, they form lasting relationships and they have families of their own, which is so incredible. CFSA has been part of many lives for over 50 years now, and we are very proud tonight to share the story of two of our very special members. So please give your full attentions to the screen for this short video. Thank you.
No, don't.
It goes back to when I was born. I ended up having a hernia, as well as a condition called meconium. Mum and Dad ended up finding out that I then had cystic fibrosis.
On a daily basis as a kid, you wake up, you have inhaled antibiotics, physiotherapy, tablets to digest your food. There's a lot involved. So I've always known, early days, it was probably more intense. The iPad's flat, I know, so watch my phone. I'll come and get you in 10 minutes. It's because it's flat. I want to be able to show my kids in particular that cystic fibrosis doesn't define me, it doesn't define them. They see what I go through, they understand it, they're very aware, and I think that's the best way for them to see it and not be frightened of it either.
Don't bubble wrap your children. They still got to go out, they still got to live, they still got to make their life their own personality. The advances in treatment in the last 10 years is changed. It's been great.
Well, fair enough.
Getting sick is something that always happens anyway, but you hear of this year so many people already getting the flu and already passing away from the flu. It's just something else that plays on your mind. How sick am I going to get? How much time am I going to have at work? Especially having family now as well. I'm still here, I still work full time. I'm still a main support for this family as well. So yeah, there's scary thoughts that do come.
I think even now, meeting newly diagnosed parents of kids with cystic fibrosis is extremely confronting. I always tell people don't Google the illness because you read absolutely every worst case. You know that 37 is the life expectancy, but then I'm in that generation and I'm going to make it way past 37.
I'm going out now doing swimming, obstacle course racing, running. I'm bringing up 2 children. Back when I was 12, 13, it was never ever expected I'd live to 18, let alone live to have kids.
Still hard work. I still wake up every day and I still have to do morning treatment, then I'll come to a gym session. If I don't do a gym session, I'll go for a walk, or I try and keep very active with the kids. 3 and a 5-year-old, they keep me very busy.
As I'm getting older, instead of letting it, my lung function slowly drop, I've kind of gone the opposite way and gone, let's go out and see how long I can prolong this. So now I'll go out and I train and I run, 20 plus K distances, and training at the moment for my first ultra marathon in September. It's 56 kilometres. So.
It's easy to fall into the mentality that you have this illness and that's who you are. And I've been very blessed to be around a very supportive family who have showed me that it's not who you are, it's a part of you.
And I think you do have to have that some kind of bit of a fearless attitude in regards to CF, and just go out and enjoy and do what you love.
Good evening. So we're here tonight to tell you about how CFSA has not only continuously supported us and our families, but how moving forward, the entire CF community rely on the support of Cystic Fibrosis South Australia. Without the services and support of CFSA, let's just say our lives would be very different. Over the years, the CF community has brought many families together and created many, many friendships. However, it has created one very, very special family.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Collis. I'm one of the CFSA ambassadors. And next to me is my longtime friend and hospital sister, Emma Evans, also known as CF Mummy. As you saw in the video, Emma and I both have cystic fibrosis. We both have 2 beautiful children, and despite the constant hurdles CF throws our way, thanks to the support of CFSA, we are able to continue to live a normal life as possible.
Hello. So Kyle and I have known each other for probably as long as we can remember. But sadly, our friendship does come with what you would say a barrier. Due to cross-infection, we have to keep at a distance. However, because of what we've been through and continue to go through, this tape measure, it's just a physical barrier. We have lost many of our friends over the years. This is something that never gets easier. Now I was going to save this till the end of our speech, but I feel like it's probably fitting. This week, yesterday, Kyle and I had to say goodbye to a friend of ours, 33 years old. So in honour of our corker, we'd like you all to raise a glass, because to us, he was one of our brothers. And we want to raise a toast to Corey, to breathe easy. To Corey. It never gets easier, but we get stronger. So through our strength and the community that cystic fibrosis gives us, we continue to have exactly that support. Cystic fibrosis, South Australia, is much more than just that though, the supportive community. We have watched our parents be advocates for us, and in doing so, they have raised many funds over the years. From sausage sizzles to publicly fighting with the government for access to new medications to simply raising awareness for cystic fibrosis. We are so proud in our 30s to see the newly diagnosed CF families to take over that baton and be the strong voice and advocate in continuing our fight to beat cystic fibrosis.
The services and support that CFSA provides CF families often goes unnoticed. We wanted to share with you some of the many services they provide with the help that demands of living with CF. We both have been fortunate to use the fitness subsidy. As a financial member, this subsidy allows CF patients to participate in physical activities such as gym memberships or even event entries, which reduce the out-of-pocket costs. Without this subsidy, I wouldn't have been able to compete in many of the endurance events and push myself to prove that CF doesn't hold me down and that it shouldn't hold any other CF person back either. The medical equipment subsidy. It's available for families to use in support of purchasing medical equipment, such as new nebulizers. And a big cost for families is the ongoing ever-rising cost of medications. Having the PBS helps us to reduce the yearly cost of medication. However, it can still be costly, and so having the pharmacy subsidy just goes that little bit further to help families out. One subsidy that Emma and I both have used over the past years is called the Little Day Out. With the financial demands that is placed on CF families, the Little Day Out allows families to take some time out to enjoy some quality family time. Thanks to this subsidy, this year we both took our children to see Disney on Ice. With the ongoing support, With the ongoing support of the community and the donations provided, this has allowed CFSA to provide a support network for the parents and grandparents to also take time out. CFSA put on both a grandparents' dinner and a parents' dinner, giving these family members an opportunity to connect and support one another. It is so important we have these support networks, as being affected by CF can be a very scary journey.
I'm just going to chuck something in because that's what I do. So tonight we see cystic fibrosis up on the signs and everything around us. For Kyle and us, cystic fibrosis isn't just a charity, it's not just a name. Cystic fibrosis is who we are, a part of us. I'm not going to say who we are because it's a part of us, it doesn't define us. So when I see cystic fibrosis up there and what CFSA does, it's so much more than just what CFSA does. Cystic fibrosis affects Kyle and I every single day, mentally, emotionally, physically. It's not just Kyle and I. So to see that, it's almost frustrating, but it brings it back home a little bit. So I just want to make you all realise that whilst some of you may be affected, some of you may have CF, for us, that's us. That's what we go through. And we're here tonight to raise money to help us breathe a little easier. So thank you for everyone being here. Anyway, back to my script. So with the advancements of the treatments and the new medicines, it's far from a cure. I was recently involved with a campaign to gain access to Orkambi. I wrote letters to the Health Minister almost weekly. $300,000 for a drug that's life-saving almost seems ridiculous. And I think after almost a 3-year hell of a fight with many CFs around Australia, I'm extremely proud to say that after years after fighting for those who have a double Delta 5018 gene, we won in October last year. So that price tag, dropped. It now costs me $6 a month, and I do breathe a little easier. But like I said, it's far from a cure. We have very, very different genes. So what works for me doesn't work for him, which sucks, but it's the reality. So you would say that yes, it's given me extra years, and whilst Carl's going through his own clinical trials for what gives him a few extra years, that's all it is right now, extra years. We still heavily rely on the services that CFSA give to us. And I cannot stress that enough. From the emotional and financial burdens that CF brings, knowing we have the support from CFSA does allow us to, I think I've said it a few times now, breathe a little easier. It's true though. So tonight, we're here to raise money to help us and all those family and friends affected by Cystic Fibrosis SA. How many in here have a family member affected by cystic fibrosis? How many of you are here because you're just here for a good night? Yeah, be honest. Well, Kyle.
So with saying that, we want you guys to dig deep tonight. We have our silent options.
Oh, it's me. So we are so confident we're going to beat last year's target. And with your help, we're going to work together tonight. And together, we're going to reduce the pressure and ensure that all of us affected by cystic fibrosis can breathe a little easier.
But most importantly, we want to work together to have lives unaffected by cystic fibrosis. Thank you.
Thank you.